Chapter 36. Listen, I just got fired, okay? Is that okay with you? Having lost her shit in front of her friends, Ray had stormed off to her car. The bloody thing was trying it on with her again, and she'd had enough. I just got fired because one of my clusters woke up dead, and yes, I know that's not possible, but the point is I was just with them on a cruise ship. I was just with them on their stupid fucking ship, and I know they were a bunch of dicks, and I know I didn't like them. I know, but for fuck's sake, they were dead. Are dead. They are dead. Ray shrunk. She'd been shouting, but her voice disappeared now. She breathed her next words. I couldn't do anything. Sat in the stirruped chair, Ray blinked up at the ceiling. She didn't want to cry, not here, not in her stupid fucking car. But the strain of holding back her tears became too much. She couldn't hold it any longer, and her sobs came forth in gasps. Ray lifted her face up as if someone above, someone more powerful, might see her pain and pluck it from her. The car spoke softly. You're very beautiful when you cry, Ray. Did anyone ever tell you that? Through the mucus and tears, Ray mumbled something. Well, you are. You're very beautiful when you cry. Would you like a massage? For fuck's sake, Ray spluttered. The last thing I need is it doesn't have to be a sexy one if you don't want Ray. I can just make the seat a bit warmer, a bit cosier. Hold you until you feel a bit better. Through her blubbers and shudders, Ray mumbled her consent. And then, when you're feeling up to it, I'll slip some soothing music on, pop a log on the hollow fire. We can take things from there. Just hold me, you daft cunt. The stirrups lowered Ray's legs, and as it tilted backwards, the chair scooped softly around her, coddling her into the fetal position. The cushions warmed and billowed, nestling her securely in their cradled palm. Then, almost imperceptibly, the chair began swaying her from side to side. Ray clutched a cushion to her face and sobbed into it, and then sobbed some more. The mass car stacked itself and told Ray it'd wait for her, that it would always wait for her, longed for her. It even hinted it probably would need to masturbate while she was gone. She'd no idea how it had achieved this, and she didn't ask. Evening was drawing in at St. Luke's. After breaking down in the car, Ray felt withdrawn and distant. She'd considered getting drunk, but a part of her knew that was a bad idea. She'd get maudlin. Then again, she didn't want to be alone either. Watching telly back at her apartment sounded too depressing. She needed to be around people. She needed some distraction, and she probably needed to stay sober. So it was with some relief that she stumbled upon the fair. There was often something like this going on in St. Luke's. Fashion fairs, science fairs, eco-friendly contemporary theatre festivals. The district's bohemian metropolitan atmosphere lent itself to these outdoor galas. The old squares and courtyards of a bygone industrial era provided a perfect venue for the many stalls, stages, floats, and parades. And no matter what the theme of the fair, each had the same golden rule. There was no such thing as too much bunting. Ray thought back to the last one she'd been to, about a year ago, a sports fair. She'd seen demonstrations of the latest sleep cycle hardware, bionic enhancement stalls, nanotech supplement stands, and countless promotions for extreme sports experiences. Some were popular, like the orbital gravsail surfing. Others were not. Ray recalled one depressed stallholder trying to flog her a whale-holding package. It clearly hadn't been a good day for him. He'd sounded tired and flat behind his kiosk as he'd explained the concept to her. It involved diving gear and chartering a ridiculously expensive submarine to drop you off 3,000 feet below the surface of the ocean, amongst a swarm of squid, where, you'd hope, a sperm whale would find the swarm and accidentally swallow you as well. You'd then spend the best part of a fortnight making your way through its digestive tract until you were finally excreted somewhere in the open ocean, where, for a ridiculously expensive fee, a rescue boat would locate and retrieve you. "And you've actually done this?" Ray had asked him. "Yes," he'd answered flatly. "Twice." There was a growing community of whale holders. It was awesome. His eyes had looked dead, and Ray couldn't help thinking he'd seen things people simply weren't supposed to. He'd offered her a promotional brochure. She didn't want it, but felt bad for him and took it anyway. Today, though, St. Luke's was hosting its annual meat fair, Carnivora. Ray made her way through the hubbub to an open square she'd often been through. It had a small park in the centre, now a public showcase for the multifarious delights of meat. Smoke drifted about the square, curling and unfurling over the crowd. The scent of barbecued meat and marinade was everywhere. It was time for something spicy. Having satisfied her hunger with some jerk chicken, she perused the stalls. One offered a product Ray had never heard of before: Quanta burgers. A youngish couple sat at the small counter. They ordered a burger each and a few drinks. Ray sat a few stools away from the pair, and a serious-looking chef took their order, along with Ray's, and began carving from a pearly sphere of pure white. It was a lump of new synthetic meat that the chef solemnly promised would taste unlike anything, synthetic or otherwise, that they'd had before. With total concentration, he cut small rectangles from the sphere, not unlike sushi, which he placed reverently onto the dishes set before them. He instructed them to eat their Quanta burgers whole and not to bite into them for at least 3 seconds. He warned them to prepare for a taste experience unlike any other, tapped his eyeline, and gave them a curt nod. Each of them picked up their burger at more or less the same time and popped it into their mouths, eyes wide with curiosity. The chef told them that via their saliva glands, the Quanta burgers were, at that very moment, analysing their hormonal neural networks and transmitting each of their personal preferences for flavours and textures to the kitchen's local server, which in turn was remotely reconfiguring the biogenetic compounds of the synth meat. The chef glanced at his eyeline, waited a beat, then wished them bon appetit. Ray bit into hers with anticipation. This meat was tender and yielding, its juice, its essence, melting over her tongue in a sublime, piquant blend. Here the perfect umami tang, there the sweeter flavour of meat near the bone. She thought she tasted something like suckling lamb, but also the soft, fatty layers of slow-roasted pork belly with the crisp, salty satisfaction of crackling. Strolling on through the market, she wished she had more appetite. There was so much, but she was already stuffed. There were chicken ballantines, sweet sticky ribs, and vegan synth steaks. Trains of sausages drooped down from stall fronts, huge ribeyes hissed and smoked on griddles, and everywhere people were tasting, chewing, and just plain shoving it down their necks. Meandering through the streets, Ray didn't notice the couple from the Quanta burger stall. They were keeping a steady pace behind her.